These videos are recorded to talk you through how to answer questions in English Language Paper 2 for the AQA Examination Board. When it comes to the sources that I've used and the examples that I've written on today, they are from the November 2022 paper. So when it comes to that, you're going to need to ask your teacher for a copy of those sources so that you can actually answer them, and you can get either the questions from here or from them as well. The knowledge organizer that I use for this, I'm going to copy and paste into the description of the videos, so you can find all of my tips and all the bullet points in there as to the targets that you need to be using to answer those questions. AQA Language Paper 2 Question 1 is a relatively simple question. All it does is test your ability to read a text and understand it. It'll then give you 8 statements and you need to select the 4 that are correct. You do that by colouring in the circles in the boxes of the question. So I'll give you an example. It looks like this. My example is from the November 22 paper. So a few tips then when it comes to answering this question go as follows. 1. I would suggest that you answer the question as you are reading the source. So very clearly you can see here in my example 1 that my example is from lines 1 to 6, and all you need to do is read those 6 lines and answer as you are going along. So the actual paper here looks like this. Lines 1 to 6, just there, is really kind of clearly marked out by the end of a paragraph. So it'll always be the same, an end of a paragraph will mark the end of the line, and that's where you need to get your answers from. I would also suggest then the statements are in chronological order. So in this case, you should be able to make out whether or not A is correct before moving on to B. And then once you've done that, you'll know the next line that you're going to find, the next true or false is going to be for B, and then C, and onwards and onwards. You need to make sure, very obviously, that you get your answers from the correct lines. If you start getting your answers not from lines 1 to 6, but you actually get them from elsewhere in the source, you might actually find that you've gotten them wrong. I'd also be careful because sometimes the wording of the statement is really close to the truth, so you need to be very particular about what the question is actually stating before you make your answer as to whether it's true or false. I'd also suggest then that you make sure to give 4 answers. Even if you can't find all of the answers and you found 3 or 2, it's worth guessing, because if you don't fill any of them in after the ones that you've found, then you're not going to get any marks for them.